Okay, it's quite nice outside, so I thought I'd come out here and answer a few questions from my audience. Okay, so Anastasia has asked me a couple of nice questions. So yeah, here we go. First of all, Anastasia asks, how did you first get started and was it an easy ride? I first got started, well, like most artists, when I was a child, I just started to draw. All children start to draw, really. It's encouraged by the parents, by the schools. You know, it's pretty easy. But, unlike most children, I just never stopped drawing. You know, academically, was I ever the best child? Not really. I was dyslexic as a child. And I think, yeah, okay, dyslexia may have caused me a few reading griefs along the way, but ultimately I pushed past that. But it did make me a bit of a lazy reader, which I think now I've overcome. But, yeah, I just never stopped drawing as a consequence. But it became my talent and it became kind of what I was known for at school. I think everybody has one talent, that one thing that they're better at than anyone else around them. And for some people, it's really easy to find that thing. You know, for some kids, they're the fastest at running. For some kids, they're better at drawing. You know, but in most cases, it's because they practice running more than other people. For some, it's because they practice drawing more than other people. You know, you're just better at these things because you try more, you know, if that makes sense. And for me, that's what it was about. You know, and that was nice. But that's how it started. And then I got to that level in school where... yeah, I got to that level. But I also had a helping hand when I was in primary school at the age of about 10. Weirdly enough, they took a group of us to one side and said, you will all learn second and third point perspective and a bunch of other really advanced things. Why? Who knows? It was just kind of weird. You know, and they did this for about 6 months. One day a week after school, they would keep us back for like an hour and teach us all these mega advanced things. And I think that kind of spurred me on to like really get into art. And then, you know, I just went from there, and then, you know, kind of at high school, I just never stopped drawing. When I should have been learning in every classroom, I just carried on learning. And, you know, I had 2 sets of every book. You know, the books that you write in. I had, you know, in my maths lesson, I had a red book with my name on the front, and I was supposed to, you know, take notes in it and everything like that. But I also had a duplicate copy of that book that I had all the same, you know, kind of scribbles on and stuff like that on the front. You know, I had a duplicate copy, but inside it was just drawings that I'd done. And when the teacher came near me, I got out my proper book. Later on, it became time to really make a decision about what I was going to do, and it was obviously art because it was all I was kind of doing. I really loved, you know, just sitting and drawing and working on my own, and, you know, I was having lots of fun drawing what I wanted to do, but I knew I had to go to art college and learn how to draw properly. I was doing art in classes kind of a couple of times a week, but I wasn't really learning any major techniques. It was school art. You know, no one's really teaching you. It's kind of like, here's some supplies. Nah. So, in order to get into art college, I didn't really know too much about. I managed to get to art college a couple of times a week. You know, you could do that where I was. And So, I kind of managed to get to art college a couple of times a week and find out a bit more about it and do some kind of, some time there and find out what I wanted to do at art college, which was kind of cool. So I was doing some kind of afternoons there while I was still at school, and I found out about the qualifications I'd need. So I had to work really hard while I was at school to get into art college, and that's what I did. And I found out that I wanted to do illustration while I was still at school, and I clamped down, and I really wanted to be a comic book artist, and that's what I really wanted to be, because that's what I was reading. At the time I was really into artists like Greg Capullo and Jim Lee, and I thought these guys were rich, and I thought these guys were superstars, and yeah, I really wanted to work for Marvel and Image Comics, who were just coming out at the time, and yeah, that's what I wanted to do. Looking back, I wouldn't really want to be in the comic book industry at all, because I've heard amazing horror stories, though, yeah. Would I do it? I'd love to dip in and out of it, certainly, but I wouldn't want to do it as a full-time career. But yeah, it was just knuckling down, getting on with it, and, putting in the hard work. There was a lot of research involved in finding out about what I wanted to do. But I went off to art college, and I wouldn't say it was an easy path. I think at that age, about 15 or 16, because I'm British, so that's the time I left school. I was 15 when I left school, because I was born at the kind of end of the school year, so I was actually the youngest person in my year. If I'd have been born a day and kind of 4 hours later, I'd have been the oldest person in the year after. So, yeah, so I actually left school at 15 rather than 16. So, yeah, really weird. I had my birthday and then went to art college at 16. So it's not like America, where you go to college, when you're 18, 19. And then, yeah, I went to art college. I had a great time, and I think that's where I really expanded as a person and developed. I wish I'd have put in more effort at art college. I was at that age where I really discovered who I was. Never train. So I love where I'm sitting at the moment, but I managed to find a spot where nobody else was around and nobody could see me, and that's really what I wanted, but there is a train in the background. But yeah, I wish I'd have been a little older so I could have really knuckled down and focused on my work. But again, though, I don't think there was the tuition. It was more of a broader illustration course. There was nothing about comics, and I don't think they liked us doing comics, even though there was about 4 of us who really wanted to do comics. But as with any college or university course, there's actually only about 10% of people who go to university or college who will end up in their field of the course, especially within art education. You normally find there's at least I would say that's the case with most education. Maybe not in some of the specialised colleges, but I'd say that's the case with a lot of colleges. There's only a very small amount of people who actually end up long term in that industry. If I look back at my illustration course, I could say there's probably a very, 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 very few amount of people who ended up long-term working in that industry. The same goes for, I took a couple of years out and then went to university. I didn't study illustration at university. I studied visual communications, which is a kind of melting pot term. It's a lot of people went into advertising. Some people went into typography. I love typography, by the way. I was very good at it. But some people went into that. I think most people did absolutely nothing. Yeah, a lot of people just went into kind of flaking off and became run-of-the-mill, doing nothing really people. Just normal businessy people. So, yeah, I mean, realistically, I think, yeah, you've really got to push hard at it, and it's not easy as a kind of a route to go down. Now, I think the visual communications course did help, but from a different angle. I ended up going into advertising myself as an art director, and I kind of left my illustration self behind. But, however, because I could draw, and people noticed this, I ended up drawing a lot and doing a lot of scamps, a lot of visuals for advertising. But a lot of people noticed that I could actually draw properly. And, ooh, old-fashioned train, cool. A lot of people noticed I could illustrate. And actually, funnily enough, that was the first time I ended up doing a job for Marvel through that. Because of that, I ended up doing a lot of illustration work in advertising, and it ended up being this weird thing where I didn't want to be known for that. I was a good creative, and I ended up doing a lot of illustration work, and then I ended up thinking, I'm good at this, and it's well paid, and I kind of left illustration behind, but I'm doing a lot of advertising work, and it's great, and it's kind of this meld of both. And I got out of illustration because if you're good at drawing, you're good at drawing. And I wanted to use my mind more and exercise my mind and be the creative thinker. Fast car. But as I get older now, that was kind of in my 20s. But as I get older now, I'm in my 30s. I don't want to sit there every day and have that mental struggle. As I get older and I have a son, I want to sit there and I want to draw and relax, and I still want to think. I still like the mental challenge, but I want the mental challenge that comes with illustration. And I want to be a great artist, and I want to leave behind the illustration, whereas a concept in advertising, there's nothing to leave behind. Nothing long-term, like an illustration, like a painting. And that to me is really valuable. And also the sense, when you create an illustration, when you create a painting, when you create a book cover, people say thank you. And clients mean it. And there's a reward that comes with that as well. So that's really, really a big thing. So yeah. Anastasia also asks, I'm eager to know what the bulk of your art career is spent doing. Okay, in terms of that, I take it you mean what kind of work I'm doing. I used to be known as the guy who could do any style. I work in a lot of different programs, i.e. Photoshop, Corel Painter, Illustrator, I can do vector work, raster work, obviously can do video. I don't do 3D. I can do lots of stuff. I'm obviously an art director and illustrator. I have a marketing mind, a creative mind, as well as just being an illustrator. I say just. But yeah, I can do a lot of different stuff, and I think that makes me a very well-rounded character. And yeah, so I used to be known as a guy who could do lots of different styles, and that was good for people because I could dig them out of holes very quickly. if they needed a certain style, didn't know who to go to, they could ring me up and say, Lawrence, we need this. Can you do it? And a lot of the time, I could be like, yeah, don't worry, sort you out. One day I sold my soul. I created Barbie. I did a whole minefield, Barbie books, in that style. And it was kind of like, they were beautiful. If you Google Barbie, Lawrence, man, yeah, it's criminal. It's handsomely paid for creating Barbie. And it was kind of like, yeah, I don't mind. Look back on them. You know, if I have a little girl at one point, I'll be happy to show them. And it's kind of like, you know, it's not my style at all. But it was somebody else's style, and I recreated that style, and you couldn't tell. You know, it was a fixed Barbie style guide, and I recreated it perfectly. And it's kind of like, toot toot, that train again. And it's kind of like, yeah, fine. And I've done isometric styles and hundreds of different styles. But that's all I did. I never did my own style. Hardly ever. You know, I used to do it for myself, but I never did it for clients, because clients didn't really want that. They wanted, you know, styles that had been set, and that was the way it was. And I felt drained within because of it. So one day I said, no more, no. And I put my foot down and said, I don't want to do this stuff anymore. I was doing it, you know, clients were coming to me, and I also had an agent who I kind of floated away from now. I never officially got rid of him. We just kind of floated away. But, you know, I've been thinking about getting a new agent. But it's kind of like, yeah, it kind of irked me that I was doing loads of different styles. I just wanted to do my own. So I cleared my entire portfolio out. I don't show anybody any of that stuff anymore. I took it all down, and I put together a decent portfolio of my own work, and, you know, I started showing that around. You know, and I've got a list of clients that I still want to get and go after, you know, and I think the style will be right for them. And that's what I'm going to do. And I'm happy with that. And yeah, in fact, ImagineFX actually ran an article on the fact that I'd been brave enough to clear out that entire portfolio. You know, because am I a bit of a nut for doing that, for throwing away what I had? You know, maybe, but in the end, you've got to be true to yourself in order to do that. But what do I do now all day because I did that? I do a lot of book covers, and I'm really happy with that, because, like I said, clients actually say thank you when you do work like that. Whereas before, it was kind of like, we need it in a rush, yeah, cheers, bye. And you didn't really feel appreciated. Whereas now I do what I feel is important, I do actually feel appreciated, and people actually do say thank you. Because now I can pick my jobs. You know, I do the work that I want to do now. That's pretty much the answer to that. Whereas before I didn't. You know, I do a lot of different things. I do game concept artwork. I do book covers. I do portraits. I like doing portraits. I love doing portraits. I do a lot of character-based work. Basically, all my work is character-based. You know, I can do environments. I can do a lot of other stuff. But, you know, whether it be concept art, fantasy art, you know, sci-fi art, it's generally character-based, you know. So I like doing a lot of portraits and things like that. But I'm a bit of a geek, and, you know, so it's all character-based, and, yeah. So I'm happy, and I do the work that pleases me. You know, if somebody comes up and they have a bit of a challenge, then, yeah, I'll take it on. And the main thing is that I'm enjoying my work, and I'm finding every piece of work a challenge, and basically I want to improve my skill with every piece of work that I do. I look for something that I can improve myself with, you know. So particularly if, you know, if say I want to do an explosion because I haven't drawn an explosion in a while, or, you know, there's something that I haven't drawn before or painted before, I'm not used to drawing that, or I haven't seen that done before, that's what I'll aim to draw. Maybe I'll have to do it in a personal piece, you know, for example, or somebody hasn't challenged me with it before, or that might be kind of cool to do. But hey, that's what I aim to do every day. You know, something new. Cool. I hope that answers your question. If you have any more questions, please, you know, let me know. If anybody else has any more questions, you know, feel free to send them to me or leave them in the comments below. Maybe send them in video form. That would be very cool, and I will definitely answer those. Yeah, that's very, very cool. I would love to hear if you have an opinion on the comments I've made on, you know, my story here. Leave those in the comments below. You know, if you've got a story about your life, how you became an artist, how, you know, how you've come up the ladder as an illustrator, if you want to know more about how I've done this, what I do every day, then let me know. Brilliant. I'd love to see you subscribe to my channel, spread the word about my channel, you know, and stick around, you know, watch a few more of my videos, hopefully. I will always keep making videos like this and the other ones on my channel. I do a lot of product reviews, obviously products based around, you know, art supplies that are relevant to digital artists like myself. Hopefully they're things that you will find really interesting. I don't get paid to do any of these. They're all just products that I find on the internet and I think are very, very cool. I don't make any money off these, so don't feel that I'm pushing them on you. I just find stuff that I think is awesome, and then, you know, I get hold of them and make the reviews. I also do speed paints and the odd tutorial here and there, and then I go on rants like this and answer video questions. I don't have a regular posting schedule, but then again, I try and put up a video every week. So the best thing to do is subscribe, and then you get notified as to when I put up a new video. Cool. Hopefully I'll see you soon, and until then, chat soon. Well, thanks for watching. Be sure to comment, like, and even subscribe to my channel, LAWRENCEcanDRAW. And if you really did like what you saw here, you can see more of it on my website, lawrenceman.co.uk. I'll see you next time.